In the vast and wild steppes of Mongolia, a child was born with a sign of destiny in his grip, a boy named Temujin who would rise from the ashes of tribal warfare to forge a nation under the endless sky. Gathered around the roaring fires of the ancestral hearth, the scattered clans pledged their loyalty in a solemn vow as Temujin was proclaimed the universal ruler, uniting the nomadic warriors into a force that would soon shake the foundations of the world. With thousands of disciplined horsemen riding as one, the Mongol army swept across the horizon like a storm of steel, their swift movements and tactical brilliance setting the stage for an era of unprecedented conquest. Standing before the ancient walls of the east, the mighty siege engines crushed the wooden gates and crumbled the fortifications as the Mongol forces poured into the heart of the empire, marking the beginning of their relentless expansion. As the Silk Roads thrived under the watchful eyes of the merchants, a single act of betrayal against the Great Khan's envoys triggered a wave of vengeance that would sweep through the flourishing cities of Central Asia, leaving nothing in its wake. Through the burning streets of Bukhara, the echoes of history were written in smoke and flame as the Mongol commanders orchestrated their dominance with a precision that left the defenders breathless and their once proud cities shattered in their dust. Upon the silent plains of the steppe, the great conqueror breathed his last, his passing marked by a secret mourning among his people, who laid him to rest in a hidden tomb that remains untouched by the passage of time. Stepping into the shoes of his father, Ojide Khan expanded the borders of the empire with a strategic vision that stretched from the borders of China to the icy rivers of Russia, pushing his horsemen ever forward into the unknown frontiers. Before the grand gates of Baghdad, the forces of Hulagu Khan stood in iron silence as their sophisticated siege machines prepared to dismantle the ancient center of learning, bringing a definitive end to an era of cultural splendor. In the opulent palace of Dadu, Kublai Khan ruled with a fusion of tradition and innovation, surrounding himself with the riches of the Orient, while envisioning a maritime expansion that would test the limits of his vast power. Against the might of the Mongol navy, the fury of the divine winds struck the sea, turning the ambition of the great fleet into a graveyard of splintered ships and broken dreams along the rugged shores of the islands. Under the banner of the Pax Mongolica, the great roads became safe havens for commerce and ideas as trade flourished from the rising sun to the distant west, connecting civilizations that had once been separated by thousands of miles. As a silent killer began to traverse the trade routes, the seeds of instability took root among the camps and cities, bringing a darkness that would slowly sap the economic strength of the once invincible empire. Deep within the darkened tents of the ruling elite, the seeds of discord began to sprout as ambitious heirs vied for control, breaking the unity that had once made them the masters of the known earth. With the winds of change sweeping through the streets of Beijing, the uprising of the Ming dynasty ignited a new flame of hope that forced the Mongol rulers to relinquish their grip on the throne and return to their ancestral homelands. Amidst the shifting sands of Persia, the legacy of the Ilkhanate faded into the tapestry of the local cultures. As the invaders integrated into the land they once conquered, leaving behind only the faded ghosts of their past. Facing the rising power of Moscow, the Golden Horde found itself locked in a struggle it could no longer sustain as the tides of history turned against them on the blooded fields of Kulikovo, sealing their eventual decline. Returning to the cradle of their birth, the remnants of the once great host sought refuge in the quiet isolation of the Mongolian plateau, where the memory of their golden age lived on in the stories of the elders. Across the sprawling steppe, the wind whispers through the tall grass, reclaiming the ruins of ancient outposts that once stood as symbols of a terrifying power, leaving the landscape to return to its original state of silence. At the final edge of the horizon, the sun sets upon the remnants of a fallen storm as the echoes of hoofbeats fade into the annals of history, leaving the story of the Mongols as a timeless testament to the rise and fall of empires.